Dark Shadows of the Amazon, Uncovering the Truth Behind the Pelacaras. Ralph is sitting in a plane on his way to Peru. His mission is to solve the mystery of the Pelacaras. He leafs through the documents from the case that Colonel Schmidt gave him. They include unclear images of creatures attacking an Indian village in the jungle. They also include photos of victims whose facial skin was stripped down to the bone. He remembers that it was in the media. It was claimed that aliens had attacked the village. Later it was rumored that poachers had disguised themselves to keep the Indians away. Others claim that the military had tested new military equipment. To this day it is quite unclear what really happened. That is why Ralph is now on his way to investigate. As soon as he lands in Lima he will make his way to the village. He wonders if it could be aliens. Peru has many mystical places with unexplained mysteries such as Machu Picchu or the Nazca Lines, where ancient alien activity is suspected. He reads through the case and is very excited about this assignment. After several hours of flying, the plane finally lands in Lima, Peru. There, Ralph gets into a seaplane that will take him directly to the mysterious village. The seaplane will land in the river. This region can only be reached by river. There are no roads and the jungle is very difficult to cross and largely unexplored. Ralph enjoys the flight in the private plane. He sees the beautiful landscape of Peru, which is very diverse. Peru is a very large country and it takes 2 hours until the plane finally flies over the jungle. There are actually no built-up areas in the jungle, only along the river does Ralph see small villages and towns. The river is well navigated by boats. The place where Ralph will land is the last civilized village in this region. Behind it is largely unexplored land. Finally, the seaplane lands in the river and a small rowing boat comes to pick Ralph up. The whole village is very pleased that someone is finally coming to solve the mystery. Alien Area Shop. Your one-stop fashion destination. Attention, fashion enthusiasts of all ages. Step into the extraordinary world of Alien Area, where style meets intergalactic flair. Whether you're a man, woman, or child, we've got the trendiest clothing and accessories to make you stand out from the crowd. Visit Alien Area Shop today and let us help you defy gravity with our mind-blowing fashion selections. Prepare to be abducted by style. The villagers are very friendly and offer Ralph a place to sleep and food. For dinner, he has fish freshly caught in the river, and as a side dish, there are baked bananas and sweet potatoes. After dinner, Ralph meets the village elder. The elder shows him the places where the attack took place. He tells him that these creatures are very fast and aggressive. They came in the middle of the night, killed the village guard, plundered fruit, fish and other foodstuffs, and disappeared floating above the treetops. The victims had the skin peeled off their faces. These creatures came several times, even firearms were useless. None of these creatures could be caught or killed in order to be able to study them more closely. These creatures always disappeared in the same direction. Attempts were made to pursue them, but the jungle is so dense that the pursuit had to be called off. After the village elder has led Ralph through the village, they meet witnesses in the village square. They report seeing very fast, upright walking creatures with long arms and slightly shorter legs. Their clothing looks silvery and their heads are oval with large eyes. These creatures also have dagger-like teeth and claws. When they flee, it looks as if they have the ability to float over the trees. Because of their speed, there is no chance of tracking them. Ralph explains to the residents that he plans to go on an expedition into the jungle, but he needs people who know their way around. The village elder provides him with 3 men, but says that they all have to stay together. He also gives them supplies and weapons. After the meeting, Ralph goes to sleep. He is very excited about this expedition. What will await him? Are these creatures aliens? Early the next morning, Ralph takes his equipment and meets his 3 companions in the village center. Together they go into the dense jungle to solve the mystery of the unknown creatures. With the help of machetes they get deeper and deeper into the dense jungle. Ralph hears birdsong, monkeys screaming and the roar of predators. The forest is populated by countless species, including many unknown insects and reptiles. Ralph documents everything he sees with his camera. The jungle expedition has been going on for many hours now. Ralph wonders where these creatures could live. The first day passed without any special sightings. Together they prepare their night camp so they can rest overnight. They take turns keeping watch until, in the middle of the night, unknown squawking and clicking noises can be heard from the jungle. One of the guards shouts, "Alarm!" and points his finger at one of the trees. Ralph sees an oval head with big eyes. This creature seems to be watching them. He can only faintly make out the outline of the head, which suddenly blends into the surroundings and disappears. Was it one of those creatures? Ralph wonders. The next day, the group continues its expedition. They go deeper and deeper into the forest and around midday they reach a lake where a cave can be seen in the background. From a distance, they see 4 upright beings that look silvery. That must be these creatures, Ralph suspects. They carefully walk around the lake and are very surprised. They observe an unknown species of ape with silvery shimmering fur that lives in this cave. They are as big as gorillas but much slimmer. They have large eyes, which suggests that they are nocturnal. In broad daylight, these creatures rest. Ralph carefully takes his pictures until suddenly one of these creatures notices them and makes squeaking clicking noises. Suddenly a whole horde storms out of the cave towards the researchers to attack them. Ralph and the other 3 immediately pull out their weapons and start shooting at the dangerous creatures. They immediately stop their attack and flee when one of their own kind is fatally wounded. Ralph sees them climbing up the trees in a flash and jumping over the treetops before disappearing. It looks as if they are floating above the treetops. Ralph and the others run to the dead creature and begin to investigate it. It is a monkey, its mouth has sharp canine teeth and its hands have dagger-like claws. They must be pure carnivores. Ralph takes lots of pictures of this scientific discovery. Pelacaras are monkeys, not aliens. They have not been documented to date. This species is later named the Pelacaras monkey. The 3 companions wrap the creature in a cloth and quickly build a stretcher with which they take it back to the village. It will then be handed over to a zoological scientist for further examination. The 4 of them make their way back to the village together, unaware that one of these creatures is following them unnoticed. When Ralph and his helpers reach the village, the unknown species is immediately transported by seaplane to the capital, Lima, to be examined by a scientist. Ralph plans to stay a few more days to continue investigating the jungle. The village is being observed unnoticed by one of these creatures, who disappears back into the jungle to mobilize his fellow creatures. The next night, Ralph is very restless and cannot sleep. It must be some kind of 6th sense for danger. In fact, a few minutes later, hell descends upon the village. The guard is the first to scream in pain and several other villagers also start screaming. A horde of 20 of these creatures attack the village. The person on guard is killed and is later found lying on the ground with his face cut off. Ralph draws his gun. One of these creatures climbs through his window. One well-aimed shot and it is dead. Ralph now runs out of the house to help. He is not the only one shooting. He hears several shots and angry screams. After a few minutes, everything is over. The damage is great. 5 people were killed, including 2 children. Supplies were looted and several buildings destroyed. This was a revenge campaign by the apes to avenge their fellow apes. After this incident, the National Guard was informed and stationed some soldiers. This species is so aggressive and dangerous that no one dares to go into the jungle anymore. This part of the jungle is their territory. There were a few more incidents, but they were harmless. After a few days, Ralph returned to Bonn, Germany, to inform his superior, Colonel Schmidt, of this discovery. He already has the next case for him. The trip goes to Anchorage in Alaska, where over 60,000 people have disappeared without a trace. Anchorage is a gateway to the Alaska Triangle. There are reports of mythical creatures and aliens. Ralph is supposed to go through the area with a guide and do research.